It's the 11th of March 2004 and 10 powerful bombs have exploded right in the heart of Madrid.
I was in the carriage behind the one that exploded. Everybody thought the overhead cables had collapsed. Then everyone started running. They were covered in blood. It was horrendous, horrendous.
After the first blast, people seemed to keep calm, but after the second and the third one, it was everybody rushed out of the station, people crying. It was a shocking image.
It's very hard to me to explain what I see in the station. The body of the people burn, people crying, and terrible. Women, men, children, terrible.
The bombs were packed into rucksacks and left on commuter trains heading for Atocha, Madrid's busiest station. They were detonated remotely in quick succession in the midst of the morning rush hour.
I was in the underground when I heard that it was the first bombing. I had a friend inside the metro and he told me, "You haven't heard?" You know, what? What's going on? It's about the bombing. No way. And then he told me, yeah, in Atocha.
Jonathan Cuenca is a volunteer medic with Spain's Protección Civil and was on the rota to work that morning.
My thinking was really Atocha, 7:30 in the a.m., crowded, lots of victims. So I'm going to be working for sure at this time. So I got ready inside. I was pulling out my helmet, getting ready everything to get inside the base. And if I was told to get into an ambulance, go into an ambulance, ready.
As rescuers and police rushed to the scenes, Jonathan's first task was to coordinate dozens of Protección Civil volunteers at their base. He'd experienced bombings by the Basque separatist group ETA in the past, but the scale of this attack was unprecedented. Not only had bombs exploded at Atocha station itself, 3 other trains had been targeted further up the line.
With ETA, you can expect maybe 1 or 2 bombings in a day, but not 4 bombings in Atocha, 4 bombings in Tellez, 4 bombings in the other station and in the other station. And I knew that was going to be really hard.
At each site, the wounded and panic-stricken poured out onto the streets. Other passengers and passers-by tried to help the injured to safety. Inside Atocha, volunteers from Jonathan's team treated and evacuated the survivors, alongside full-time paramedics. It was risky work.
I think there were like 1 or 2 times where the policemen told my partners working at those places to just run out to get whatever they could of the wounded people out, because they thought that there were more bombs to explode. Actually, there was one that was scheduled for the 7:30 in the evening instead of the morning, and that's the reason it didn't explode. And many of the emergency service personnel was going like less than 1 meter away from that bomb. But I was really worried because I knew that those people were in a danger, and they were my friends. So that was really my worry.
There were other oversights amidst the chaos. The second train the bombers targeted was 500 metres outside Atocha station by Tellez Street. It was some time in all the confusion before rescuers realised there were more people trapped and injured there, just a short distance up the track.
We were getting information from, in la calle Tellez, in Tellez Street we have something. And we thought they were looking and we were seeing Atocha. It was so close. And we said, okay, it's the same thing, Atocha. Even if it were like 5 to 10 minutes, it was like more than enough like to think, ouch, you know, big mistake in some ways.
By mid-morning, the emergency services had removed the wounded for treatment and made all 4 bomb sites secure. Jonathan Cuenca's task now changed. He went to help recover the bodies of the dead, starting in Atocha, where he first witnessed the carnage for himself.
The only thing that was there were the dead people, okay? People that were not going to be identified ever because of the, I don't want really to tell. And I went into the station and I saw everything, like the destruction in the trains. The people that were, the pieces of people that were there at the station, and the destruction that was done there. I couldn't imagine that someone could plan that thing, could have that bad feeling for the rest of the people.
What they did was so distressing, even experienced rescue workers were in shock.
It was complete silence, although there were like 5 to 8 firemen, also policemen. They were really like staring at the scene, and they couldn't even say a word about anything there. That's a busy place with a lot of noise, and seeing that place in complete silence is really shocking. It's really shocking, especially the smell. Also, the smell is like, Atocha is a closed station, so the smell was really profound at that place. So many different smells. The bodies, some of the ashes from the bombing. It's something that it's inside my brain for the rest of my life.
From Atocha, Jonathan moved up the line to Tayeth Street. The train doors there had been closed when the bombs went off, making the damage at this site even more terrible. But Jonathan found that rather than running away from the scene, many local residents had actually run towards it to help.
You could see the faces of the people that were living just in front of that train, and they went out with blankets, with sheets, everything that they could to help the ones that were wounded. Even they destroyed some of this wall. They were separated from the street to the rail. They destroyed that to make a pass, and that's the place where every single service, emergency service, used to get inside. But you could see their faces, and it was really hard for them because they were not prepared for anything like that.
The next day, still reeling from the attacks, millions of people took to the streets to denounce them. 191 people had died, Spaniards and immigrants, office staff and construction workers, waitresses and students. One chant at the rally was, "We were all in that train." But even as the crowd gathered for this show of unity, a political row was building. The evidence was suggesting the attacks were the work of Al-Qaeda. The government continued to blame ETA. 3 days later, it lost the general election by a landslide. But Jonathan Cuenca says that day had other lasting consequences. Now, Spaniards fear another Islamist attack as much as an ETA one.
The feeling of Spain after that is like more fear. Especially when you hear every single month or maybe 2 months that they have discovered another Al-Qaeda group here in Spain or something like that, and you think, oof, there was going to be a bombing in Barcelona 3 months, 4 months ago, and you say, oof, again? And then you think, ooh, we're in the trouble. Right now, that's something extra I have to assume, that Al-Qaeda could attack my city right now, and I could be really involved as a victim.
That fear and the trauma they experienced meant many younger staff left the Protección Civil after the March 11th bombings. Jonathan Cuenca has never forgotten the devastation, but he does still volunteer as a medic.